What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're about to take a look at the S&P 500 here, doing our technical analysis review. We have a couple of charts that I want to look at with you and go over with you. And before we do that, we're going to first start here. I'm looking at the S&P 500 on the 8-hour time frame. I'm going to start here on the daily. This is not the SPY. This is the S&P. I trade this through my broker. You could find the link in the description. It allows me to trade 23 hours a day. It does not time me in to US market hours. This is not the SPY. This is the S&P 500. Let's get into the charts and see what is happening today. Now, I'm going to drop down first to the 8-hour time frame. You might find that I sometimes repeat myself. Now, the reason for that is because I am doing this analysis for my own benefit, and sometimes I need to just reinforce things in my mind. It's that retraining the brain is really what is most effective over here. We closed down on the day. All right, now this is not a question of whether you're bearish or bullish. Do not be tied to an opinion. We're simply going to take a look at the charts, figure out what's going on, and then we're going to do our best to trade accordingly. All right, just to review with everyone, right now we are currently in a strong downtrend. Out of that downtrend, you can see this is a rising wedge pattern. Out of this rising wedge pattern, you could see that we've come up into this strong resistance and so far have broken down out of this pattern. We've come back up. We're testing that broken support, see if it's holding into the resistance again, and we were looking for it to roll over. Now, if we do get back above here, if we are able to take out the resistance at 28.93, 28.94, right up here, at that point, I will have a bullish bias. But ever since we broke down out of here, I have a bearish bias. What does that mean? That means I'm leaning towards trading the sell side. It does not mean I won't take any longs during it, but it means that I have a bearish bias right now. Let's come down first. Let's take a look at the 2-hour time frame, and then we'll take a look at what's going on, what happened today, and how we could position ourselves possibly for tomorrow. You could see that we did test above this resistance today, and I did mention earlier in the live stream today, if you have a chance to watch that live stream, definitely join us. We stream live every day at 9 a.m., Monday through Friday. You could see over here, what I'm seeing happening is, I want to drop down even further. I'm going to start at a 30-minute time frame. All right, during the live stream this morning, before the U.S. equity markets open at about 9 o'clock this morning, I mentioned to everyone that if we are able to break above this resistance today, you can watch to see if we break above that resistance, come back down, test that broken resistance, and hold that support and take a trade to the upside. I did mention that I would not do that myself, but it is a possible trade. You were looking at roughly between 28.14 and 28.54, a decent amount of space to go ahead and take a trade. If you come down to the 5-minute, it's important to see what happened, so that in the future, this is a part of retraining the brain, so you're able to follow it in real time. This was that resistance level I gave off of. We did break above it. We came back down and we tested that broken resistance. It held that support. This was the first possible place for an entry, all right? Once you went ahead and cleared that overhead resistance over there, and then you could see what happened once you broke out. You came and tested that level, turned over as support. That's when you move your stop. Move your stop to break even, or you're locking in some profit over there because that's a decent amount. That's about 6 points over there. And then the other thing to watch was when this trend line broke, that was the point you're looking to exit, right? That was your first indication you need to get out of the trade. Now, I said I was not going to take that trade, and I want to be very clear. I am not always looking to take a trade. What I am always looking to do is continue to keep my pulse on the market, to follow the flow of the market so that when a trade becomes clear, I'm ready to go ahead and step in and take it. If you're looking at the market and feel that you need to trade every day or that you need to be in a trade all the time, you are going to lose money. That is not how you do it. Now I want to give you the broader perspective over here. Everyone's focused on this breakdown over here. This breakdown of the rising wedge, right? This gave us a bearish bias. We've come back up, and now so far we're testing a bit of resistance and rolling over. Do you get short here right now? That would be a very aggressive entry. I'm not looking to do that because I'm not sold on what's going to happen. I see this area over here between these two areas, and then I see it continuing now over here. So I kind of feel like we're in no man's land. Between here and here, I feel like we're in no man's land. And I really don't want to get whipped around, and I really want to wait for some type of breakout or breakdown to get involved. What I'm looking to happen is to see that if we come back down, this was the resistance yesterday we had people take longs off of, right? I'm still watching that resistance. Look over here. This was heavy resistance. It then broke, became support. It was an area of support down over here. Here it was resistance, came back, tested as support. This is the area I'm focused on. If we get below there, we've got some other support right below it. If we get below this support, I'm looking to go ahead and I'm looking to attack. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into this trade, assuming or with the high probability that what we're seeing happen is this rolling over as off of the resistance. This is a bit of confirmation down here, and I'm going to get into this trade. Now, in this area right now, I'm not really sold on what's happening. I feel like, again, I just feel like we're in a neutral area that I don't want to be involved in. Is it possible up at this level right here, as on the 4 hour, you're making a lower low and closing at the lows of the days to go ahead and head in here and take an aggressive short? It's possible. I don't really like it so much. If you were doing or looking for an aggressive entry, it would have been over here. This was the resistance. Look, the reason I'm showing you this is because this is what's going to make you a better trader. All right. The reason I'm doing this for myself is so that it makes me a better trader. This was the breakout this morning, right? This was a possible day trade to take. As you lost over here, as you lost this area of support, as it didn't hold over here, that was your first sign to get short, right? And back over here, this is the retest. This is the one when you made a lower high. And right over here, right there, that would have been my entry, right? Down here right now, I don't really like it. Look at this. You're into some support. Look at this with me. I want to show you why first. I want to show you why one more time now that you're focused in on the area. Okay, here's where you broke through. You bounced up almost immediately and then made your way down below this area of broken support again. Came back up. This time you made a lower high. Do you see that? Do you see the lower high? Focus in on that because that's the indication that we're rolling over. And then as you came back down under that broken support again and then made a lower low, and then look, here's how, and when you came back up and tested that area and resumed down, then you go ahead and you know I'm moving my stop to break even. Because if we trade back above that again, I know I'm wrong. How to manage a trade is essential. Right now though, you could see that we're into this area of support. Let me draw it out for you. You see this area was support. Over here it became resistance, support again, support, and that's where we are. So I don't want to take a short here, right? If someone's looking this on the 4 hour chart and they're saying, do I want to enter short here right now? This looks pretty bearish. Yeah, it does look bearish. Sorry, I'm gonna clean this up for you. For me, it looks bearish, no doubt about it. However, a break below this level over here, a break below 27.58, that's going to open up the door to the downside. That's where I'm going to say, okay, we lost this level over here. Now the bulls, who this morning thought they were taking control, are losing control, and that's where I want to jump in with the momentum. I have a feeling there's a good chance we take out this low that we put in earlier, and once we take out that low, now this becomes a good trade to the downside. Now, I'm not only focused on the downside, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, let's back up a little bit. Let me come up to the 1 hour time frame maybe and show you. Everyone knows over here, once we came above that resistance, I said that this is a trade to take. If this held, right, this was a long side trade. I didn't want to take this trade, but this was a long trade you had above here. For me to become bullish on the S&P, for me to come bullish, we have to get above this resistance over here. Once we get above this area of resistance, right? I will look for a retest and then a resumption, and I will be very bullish. But right now, since we've broken down outside of this bearish rising wedge, I have a bearish bias, and all we did was come up, test, and are rolling over today. Once we see a little bit further momentum, take out some other support over here, I like getting involved. I think that's the trade that I'm waiting for. That could happen overnight. That could happen definitely during Asia or during London tonight. That's why you want to have the ability to trade all the time. Another thing to look at over here is possibly, let's look on the 4 hour with me right now. I want you to see, possibly you see the structure of a head and shoulders developing over here. Now, I'm not calling that a head and shoulders because I don't think it is, but you could see the structure of the left shoulder, right shoulder, and a head that could definitely be adding to a topping over here. And that's where my bias is, and that's how I'm looking to go ahead and trade this right now. There's some things that I do want to look at with you. Obviously, today we'd had initial jobless claims. We lost another 4.4, recorded another 4.4 million this week, and reached an all-time high of 16 million. Look at this over here. Just for some perspective, these gray areas are past recessions, right? So first of all, the reason unemployment claims are a lagging indicator is because they don't start going up until you're in the recession, right? What happens is as companies, as they are in the recession, that's when they start laying off people. So you'll see in every gray area, right before it, they're always at lows. Unemployment is always at lows, and then you hit the recession, and then they start rising. Look over here. This is the 2008 crisis, right? This is the dot-com bust. They don't even compare. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is to give you a clear view of what's going on. A lot of people obviously remain bullish, and they're bullish because of the expansion of the monetary supply. They believe that the Fed is going to hold up the markets. I'm going to take a look at the chart in a moment and show you what I believe is going to happen. But I just want to give you a perspective of what we're seeing happen over here. Now, as far as the expansion of the monetary supply, look over here. This is the global central bank assets versus gold. The blue line is the central banks, US dollars and millions. Look as the monetary supply expands. Look at the price of gold rising in unison with it. All right. Same thing here with Bitcoin. And right now, what is happening? We're seeing an enormous expansion of the monetary supply. We're seeing what's going to happen to Bitcoin, what's going to happen to gold. Over the next 6, 12, 18 months, very bullish on gold and Bitcoin. Am I bullish on the S&P? This is something that's very important and worth figuring out. We just looked at the jobless claims. Things are not going well. Who knows when we're going to be able to open up this economy? When we open up this economy, who knows what kind of activity we're going to see? A lot of people are going to be cautious. What I believe is going to happen if, and it's a big if, because again, I will get super bullish above here. But if we do come down and test these lows and or break and make new lows over here, I think that's when the Fed's actually going to come in, and Powell hinted that they will come in and they will be buying equities. That's the point where I will say, okay, what's going to happen is the Fed is going to continue to expand its balance sheet. The Fed is going to continue to expand its balance sheet. We're at 6-7 trillion right now. It's feasible within 12 months that we could go up to $20 trillion, right? At that point, I do believe you will see the stock market rising. You'll probably at that point see the dollar really getting sold off hard, and you're going to see assets like Bitcoin and gold absolutely appreciating in value. That's just a little bit of, I'm always trying to get that bigger picture view in my mind of what's going on. Again, I make my living, trading on the swing trade time frame. I make my living looking at the market from day to day and figuring out what's the best way to position myself right now. What is that? We've looked at the market. I cautioned everyone. I called out this trade today, and I'm sure some people made some money off that. I know other people made money off this one. I know a lot of people made money off this one. Right now, I am neutral. All right? That's a position. That's a position you better get comfortable with taking. Look at this area. We're into support right now. All right? We could wind up doing this. We could break down, come back up. These are the scenarios that could play out. But if we break this line, at that point, we now have some momentum, and I think we're coming down. We're going to test these lows, and I think we break them. And what happens down here around 26.28 is going to get interesting. Of course, we have 26.82 to worry about. All right, that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Again, I'm doing this for my own benefit. I hope you also get to benefit from it. Everyone could see I'm definitely genuinely concerned. I try to reply to almost every comment possible. I'm here to work with you and help you. All right, everyone, before we close, I just think it's really important that you just get into the habit of not feeling you need to be in a trade all the time. I believe it's very important you get into the habit of not trying to be just either in the bull or bear camp, that you're able to play both sides of the market. Now, we need to have the overall bias, which right now is bearish, but at the same time, as this plays out, we need to be able to play both sides of the market. All right, everyone, if you did learn anything in this video, if you appreciated the time spent, go ahead and hit that like button. It does help the channel. It's your sign of showing support. I look forward to sharing more with you tomorrow. Until then, everyone, take care.